And mostly this is focused on managers, professionals, and skilled tradespeople. Health authority, if you are employed full-time with a health authority in BC, in any NOC category, that's the specialty of this stream, then this could be a potential option for you. International graduate, as the slide says, this is now closed to new registrations, but basically this stream was for recent graduates from who has a degree or diploma from a Canadian college or university. But at this point, this stream is no longer taking new applications. International postgraduate, even this stream is currently closed, but this was a stream for eligible masters or doctoral students from a BC university and PhD candidates as well. And lastly, the entry level and semi-skill, this stream is currently open. This is for select occupations in tier 4, majorly in hospitality and tourism or food service sections. And again, express entry is not an option if you are moving through this entry level stream. So other than that, all the other streams are linked to the express entry option also. So if you have a NOC tier 0, 1, 2, or 3 job, then you're eligible to use express entry option. But if you are neither tier 4, tier 5, then express entry is not an option through those pathways. So no matter what, whichever stream you go through, these are the most common requirements or general requirements for all the streams. You should need an indeterminate, that means a permanent full-time job offer in an eligible occupations. So some of the streams like tech pathway doesn't need a permanent or indeterminate. So there are there are a couple of minor exemptions, but generally speaking, you should need a permanent full-time job offer from a BC registered employer. You should have the support of the employer. That's very important. So not every employer will be ready to offer support, or they'll be interested to participate in this program. So you have to make sure the employer whom you're working with, they are able to support you for the PNB program. And third point is you should be qualified for the position. That means, for example, if you work as a nurse, you should have the license to practice as a nurse in BC. And again, you should meet the minimum language requirements, whichever stream you go through. And also the last point, very important, you should meet the wage and minimum income requirements based on the occupation and your family size. Okay, so as I have mentioned in the previous slides, the BCPNP has now paused or not taking new applications in a couple of streams. But what they're proposing is that they are getting 2 new streams, 2 to 3 new streams soon. We are expecting anytime soon. So the first is the bachelor stream. So as the name suggests, this is for those graduates with a bachelor degree from a BC eligible institution. So the degree must be from a BC post-secondary institution, and you should have a indeterminate, that is a permanent full-time job offer in a tier category 1, 2, or 3 job category. And at this point, they are proposing a CLB 8, the Canadian Language Benchmark 8, which is a minimum score for this particular category. Master's stream, this is for recent graduates with a master's degree from BC institution. And you should need a full-time job offer in either tier 0, 1, 2, or 3. And the language CLB level is same, like the previous bachelor stream. It's a CLB 8, which you would require to proceed through the stream. And your master's degree can be any field of study. There is no restriction that you should study a particular program, particular course to be able to move through this stream. It can be in any field as long as a recognized master's degree from BC institution. Moving on to the doctorate stream, this is for candidates or graduates from a doctoral level program in BC. The language requirement is same, which is CLB 8, which is currently proposed for this stream. And graduates and current PhD students. So if you are a PhD student who are currently enrolled or admitted to a candidacy at a BC university, this could be a potential stream for you. Okay, so the skilled worker stream, as I said in my previous slides, this is for skilled professionals who got a full-time job offer from a busy employer. And you would need minimum 2 years of skilled work experience within last 10 years in order to proceed through this stream. So the work experience has to be in either NOx tier 0, 1, 2, or 3 occupation. And you should have a job offer from a BC employer, which falls under tier 0, 1, 2, or 3. And lastly, you should be qualified to perform the job duties for the particular job offer. Health Authority, this is a very popular stream, mostly for graduates from BC. If you have a full-time job offer from a health authority in BC, so in my coming slide, I will let you know which are the authorities eligible for this stream. Then this could be a good option for you. And it should be a full-time position, and the health authority must be ready to support your application. So these are the health authorities which are currently participating in this stream. You can go over this. I'm not reading all of them, but you can go through them to see. So if you get a full-time job offer from one of these authorities, then this is a very good stream for you. So let's now move on to the entry level and semi-skilled. So as I said, this is only for very select occupations in certain sectors. And you should be currently working full-time for this BC employer. And the main difference of this stream from other streams is that you should complete at least 9 months with your BC employer before registering for this stream. For the other streams, this 9 months requirement is not there. And again, you must meet the minimum income requirement during the entire 9 months period in order to be able to participate for this stream. And similar to the other streams, other than the health authority, this is also based on a point-based system. So in my previous slides, I have mentioned about the general streams or the skilled worker streams. So right now in BC, we have some program priority areas. That means there are some sectors where we need more people, we need more skilled people. So they are called the program priority streams or areas. So these are the main priorities at this stage, namely childcare, construction, healthcare, technology, and veterinary care. So in childcare, we have the options for ECEA and ECE professionals. Construction, if you work in BC in one of the 25 construction occupations listed under PNP, and you should also have a trade certificate issued by Skilled Trades BC in order to be able to apply for this construction stream. Healthcare, we have 39 occupations. So I have not listed them. But if you have a job offer full-time permanent in one of those occupations, then healthcare stream is an option for you. And BCPNB Tech Pathway, we have 34 occupations. And you don't need to have a full permanent job offer. At least a 1-year job offer will do for this Tech Pathway. And we also have the veterinary care options also if you work in the veterinary care industry. So we were discussing about the job offer requirements and mainly the requirements as a candidate what you should meet. But we should keep in mind that your employer should be also need to meet certain eligibility requirements in order for them to be able to support you for this application. So these are general key requirements that your employer should meet. The most important is that, of course, they should be established in BC because this is a BC PNP program. And they should have their business running for at least 1 year in BC. If it's a semi-skilled stream, they should run their business for 2 years before able to support you. In terms of full-time employees, they should need minimum 5 full-time employees and 3 employees, full-time employees if they're outside Metro Vancouver. For example, if you work in Kamloops, then your employer should be needing 3 employees. But if you're working in Vancouver region, they should meet minimum 5 full-time employees. And again, when it comes to the recruitment efforts, they should meet the domestic labor market requirements in order to hire you than a Canadian citizen or a PR. And again, they should offer a full-time permanent employment, and the wage should be in line with the industry standard. That means every job has a certain expected income or wage requirement to be paid, and your income on the wage should meet that parameters in order for that occupation to be eligible to apply for that, or the job offer should be able to qualify for the BCPNP. And again, they should be able to submit all the required documents about their job offers and the business which they're operating in BC. So that's very important. We would need many documents from the employer side, and they should be able to support that on a timely manner in order for you to apply for the BCPNP. And of course, they should follow the local laws and regulations in order to participate in this program. Yes, as I was mentioning in the previous slide, there should be genuine efforts the employer should be taking before offering the job offer to you as a foreign worker. They should have all the efforts to hire a citizen or a PR to fill that particular position before offering or hiring a foreign worker for that occupation. So this is very important. BCPNB is very particular in looking into see what all efforts the employer has taken before offering that job offer to you. So BCPNB operates on a point-based system, and the total points is 200. And as you can see from the slides, the points are divided based on these major parameters. So we have 40 points for the work experience factor, 40 points for education, 40 points for your language proficiency in English or French, and 55 points for your hourly wage, how much wage you're earning per hour, and where do you work. So this is very important. 25 points allocated for the area where you work within BC. So I'll touch a bit on the points for area of employment. This is very important factor. So the total points which we can claim for this particular factor is 25 points. So as you can see from the slide, if you work in Metro Vancouver region, unfortunately, there's none points, 0 points. But if you work in, let's say if you work in Abbotsford, you get up to 5 points. And if you work, let's say if you work in Kelowna or Kamloops or Prince George, you can claim up to 15 points for that factor. And also there are some additional points for regional experience and regional alumni. So you can claim up to 10 points for those additional factors, which I'm outlining in the coming slide. So regional experience, if you complete 1 year of full-time paid employment outside Metro Vancouver within 5 years prior to you register for the BCPNP, then we could able to claim that points for you. And there are some points for regional alumni. Let's say you graduate from TRU, then this could be an option for you to claim those additional points because you graduated from a institution outside Metro Vancouver. So as you can see from the previous point grid, there are points for your English language or French language scores. So the minimum requirement is CLB4 in CELPIP or IELTS or PTE core. And currently CLB8 is currently proposed for the new streams with bachelor's, master's, and PhD. So CLB8 is being proposed for those streams. But other than those streams, this is the minimum requirement of language you should be having. And if you want to qualify through the French language test, you should need at either TEF Canada or the TCF Canada. Yeah, so this is a this is the language test which you can use for the BCPNB application, IELTS, CELPIP, PTE, TEF, or TCF. So TEF and TCF is for the French language, and others are for the English language. So I have used the word tier many times during the previous slide. So I will just explain what is tier meant by. So tier is depending on your skill level or the training and education that you would require to perform a particular job. So we have tier level from tier 0 to tier 5. So tier 0 to tier 3 comes under skilled occupations, and if you work in tier 4 or tier 5, it comes under semi-skilled or it's a non-skilled positions. So if you want to use suspect entry also, then you should work or you should have experience in tier 0 to tier 3 occupations. But tier 4, tier 5 is also an option to the semi-skilled pathway in BCPNP. And every occupation has a particular code. For example, if you work as an administrative assistant, your no code will be 13110. So before this system came into place, the no code was 4 digits, like 1241 was admin assistant, but now it's 5 digits, 13110. So this is a brief about the tier category. ECA, very important. So some of you might have your education from outside Canada. Let's say if you have master's from outside Canada, and if you want to claim points for that education, then you should need to complete the ECA assessment for that particular education. So IRCC has designated these bodies to do the ECA process. So, WES, World Education Services, very popular name. Many of you are already done through WES, but there are other bodies also which are equivalent to WES, which have been listed here. So you can approach any of these institutions to complete your ECA process. So I was saying about the BCPNB program till now, but if you are not qualified or if you don't have a supporting employer through BCPNB, we have other options also for you, namely as Entry. We have the Atlantic Immigration Program, knowingly as AIP. We have other provincial and territorial programs. For example, if you are moving from BC to Alberta, we have an Alberta PNB there. Or if you are moving from, let's say, if you are moving to Manitoba, so every province has their own PNB, but the regulations and the streams and the criteria is different from one to another. And we have the RCIP, which is a newly launched program from January 31st. So these are other options, main options for you if you are not moving through BCPNP. So we will now move on to our CIP program, which is a very brand new program. We just announced or started from Jan 31st. Yeah. So this is mainly for skilled workers who want to work and settle in these 14 communities. So this is not in every community. For example, this program is not operating in Metro Vancouver region. So there are only 14 communities across Canada which are operating this program. So I'm listing those communities in the coming slides and the detailed eligibility factors also. So let's look into the main eligibility factors for this RCIP program. The first main requirement is that you should need a valid job offer from a designated employer located in the community. And the job offer can be any from tier 0 to tier 5. So as you can see, even if you have a semi-skilled or a non-skilled occupation from tier 4, tier 5, this could be an option for you. And there's a work experience requirement in order to apply through this program. You should need at least 1 year of related work experience within the past 3 years before you can apply through this program. So there's an exemption for the students who graduated from a public institution in that community. So if you are a student graduated from that community, then you don't need to meet the work experience. You're exempted from the 1 year work experience requirement. There are certain eligibility requirements to get this waiver. So we have to look into your credential to make sure that you can claim this waiver. Language requirement is mandatory. You can either give CELPIP, IELTS, PTE,
Hello?
TEF, or TCF. And the language requirement is if you are in occupation tier 0 or tier 1, you should need minimum CLB 6. If your job offer is in tier 2 or tier 3, you should have CLB 5. and if it's a semi-skilled or non-skilled occupation, you would need only CLB4. And you should need minimum high school equivalent education. That means if you don't study in Canada, then you can provide an ECA to prove that at least you have the Canadian high school education from your home country. There are fund requirements. So if you are not working in Canada with a valid work permit, then you should need enough money to support your and your family's transition. So it depends on your family size, how much income you would, or the funds you would need to prove and show. And most important, and the job offer itself alone won't qualify for this program. The employer should be able to recommend you to the particular community. And once the community endorses your application, you would be provided with a recommendation from the community. So that's the main key document for this RCP program. And this program also comes with a 2-year work permit option. Let's say you submitted your PR application, but your current work permit is expiring, let's say within 2 or 3 months. Then we have a option to apply a work permit up to 2 years in order for you to continue working until the decision of your PR application comes into effect. So that's a very advantageous option if your permit is expiring soon enough. So these are the 14 communities which are participating under this program. So you can go through all of them to see which community that you're currently located in or you're interested to move to in order to claim a job offer. So we have from Nova Scotia, we have many communities from Ontario. We have a couple of communities from Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta. We got one community and in BC we got 3 main communities, which comes under the new RCAP program. Okay, so moving on, I will share some of the updates from the PNP and the federal before we move on to the Q&A. So this was a news from the last year. BCPNB has announced on March 19 last year that they are coming with a couple of new programs for international workers. IRCC has announced an immigration level plan for this year and the next 2 years. They are aiming to welcome 395,000 new peers this year, 380,000 peers in 2026, and 365,000 in 2027. So even though this is a minor cut from the last year's announcement, this is still a good number that they are expecting close to 400,000 PRs in the coming every year next 3 years. If you're a student, as you know, since November 8th of last year, you can work 24 hours part-time while you are a full-time student in Canada. And we have a new language requirement. So when you apply for a work permit after graduation, since November 1st of last year, you would need to provide your language reports. You can provide either IELTS or CELPIP or the approved language test to prove that you have CLB level 7 if you graduate from a university, or a CLB 5 if you're a college graduate. So that's a mandatory requirement since November 1st of last year. The field of study requirement. So if you are submitted a study permit application after November 1st of last year, you should take a program, or your program should be eligible in order to apply the work permit after your graduation. So since November 1st of last year, not every program qualifies for the work permit. So you should make sure, or you should check with the college that the particular program is eligible for you to apply for a work permit once you graduate. And again, if you are changing DLI, so let's say you're currently enrolled in a DLI, and if you're planning to change your institution, moving to another DLI, then you would need to apply for a new study permit before changing the DLIs. So earlier you could have changed the DLIs through your online account, but now you can no longer change your DLI through your online account. Master's students, if you graduate from a master's program, even though the program will be less than 2 years, you could apply for up to a 3-year permit. So that's a very recent change. Yeah, so let's move on to the family open work permit, very important. So the letters in red. So if your spouse, let's say your spouse or common law partner is studying in Canada, they should be enrolled in a master's program, which is more than 16 months in duration, or a doctorate, or some of the selected professional degree granting programs in order for you to apply for your open work permit. So before this change, even your spouse was studying in a college level program, or let's say a diploma or PG diploma, you are eligible to apply for your OWP. But since this change come into effect, not all programs will make you eligible to apply for your spousal permit. Yeah, again, depending on the this information is for the family open work permit, so WP. So your spouse should be employed in either tier 0 or tier 1, or select. So there's a list of occupations under tier T or tier 2 or tier 3 now. So unless your spouse don't work in tier 0 or tier 1, or the occupation list in tier 2 or tier 3, you cannot apply for your open work permit. Again, the letters in red, very important. Your spouse should be having at least a work permit valid for 16 months at the time when you apply for your work permit, in order for you to get that OWP. But again, if you currently have a permit applied or approved under the previous measures, then it won't get affected. But if you're applying for a newer one or extensions, these new rules will be applicable for you also. So before we move to Q&A, how we can assist you further, as I said in my beginning slides, we offer expert guidance on all the various immigration pathways. We do plan case strategy based on your profile and background. And an authorized practitioner, we prepare and submit your application to IRCC, and we do follow up and communicate with IRCC until a decision is made on the application. And we can monitor the case progress until that final decision is been made on the application. Okay, now we can move to the Q&A. I hope you can ask so that we can answer, or you can type in on the chat box. We are also monitoring the chat box also. Yeah, thank you.
You are mute, Krishnanand, sorry. No, you are not audible still. What we can actually see in your icon that you are in a mute icon. We can see that you are speaking. Unfortunately, we couldn't hear you, but because of you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, you're audible now. Great, thank you.
Okay, then what we can do, so I was not audible from the beginning. That's what you're saying.
No, maybe in the last couple of minutes, I believe.
So how many slides you have missed? I can repeat those slides. FC, RCIP, so I was not audible from the RCIP, right?
Rural, yes. You mentioned about some of the cities from British Columbia. Maybe after that, because
Okay.
I got
Yeah.
skipped a couple of slides, so I am unsure about how many slides you were muted. So so sorry.
No, actually, he
No,
completed everything.
yeah, he
Waiting for the
he
question and
completed
answer.
everything, and he is open for Q&A.
Yes,
So yeah, so just to make sure, I was only muted for the last couple of minutes, right? Or from the beginning?
Only for Q&A.
Okay, good to know. Yeah. Okay, sure. Yeah. So yeah, if all the slides were audible, then we can move to Q&A.
Yeah. So I have one question. May I?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, please.
Uh, I have seen some of the employers are not putting the note codes in the LOEs they issued for the employees. So while submitting this to the IRC, is it okay and acceptable for them, or it is very compulsory or mandatory that we need to put a no code there?
It's not mandatory. If you have the no code, that would be perfect. But even though there's no code, that should be fine as long as the job duties match that particular knock.
So which means that is actually all up to the officer who is considering the file, right?
That's right. No code is not mandatory, but if you have the no code, that makes it more easier to verify.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Hi.
sure. Yes.
Can you explain about the requirements of FCIP?
RCIP.
Not RCIP, FCIP.
Yeah, today we focused on the RCIP because we have mostly English speakers who are immigrating. But what you can do, you can reach me off the forum. Here's my email and phone number. You can reach me off the forum, and I'll be happy to explain that to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, regarding once more, I have one more question. So it goes like there is actually a lot of rumors regarding that IRCC is going to cancel STEM tech industries and some of the healthcare industry. Is that true, or is just a rumor in there?
They have not announced anything officially yet. Because if we see the website, still we can see the program priority areas, but every year they will revise their priorities based on the job market and the labor outlook. But to my understanding, this year they'll be focusing on healthcare and trade. Yeah, because it's been quite a time they have invited someone from transportation or STEM. So my belief is that they're more focusing on healthcare and trades now, even though nothing is official as of now.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, my one of my friend is working at Vancouver Coastal Health as a caregiver and as a housekeeper. So the thing that I noticed that the health authority, they are not supporting for this housekeeping or caregiver nowadays for the PR.
Yeah.
May I know the reason why? Is it fully cancelled, or they have any hope for that?
So yeah, so we are noticing that these days. So it's upon the health authority which all occupations they should support. So when they started the program, they were supporting for all the occupations, no matter if it's a direct patient care or if it's, as you said, housekeeping or facilities or kitchen. But these days, they are some of the authorities are more particular, and it seems they are only supporting applicants who are directly into patient care or supporting the core activities of patient care involved. So it depends on the health authority, and it's totally their discretion on which occupations they can offer their support to, because they also have a certain quota on how many applicants they can support every year, right? So what you can do when you attend the interview or before you accept the job offer, you can check with them if the particular position is eligible to receive the support for the PNP. Yeah.
Hi, I have a question. Hello.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, yes. Yeah, can you please tell me your name? Just to.
Hello.
Yeah. What's your name? I couldn't get your name.
Said Ali.
Said. Hi, Said. Yes, please.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, how is the if does the French express entry system goes down below 450 in the next draw or something like that?
So we cannot predict. No one can predict how is the express entry going to be. But again, French is a very sought after stream. We need more French speaking professionals across Canada. We recently have this RCAP. Similar, we have the program for French people. We have the Francophone programs also in various provinces. So our understanding is that the French draws, the cutoffs can go lesser compared to the English speaking draws. But again, we are not sure, right, if it goes below 450. But you can see there could be good chances that the points can go really favorable for many applicants. Yeah. So if you are currently in the express entry pool and if you want to improve your chances, it's always good to have a French score. Even if it's the minimum score, that's fine. If you have that additional score, it can point number one, it can boost up your overall score. Second, you could be able to participate in other Francophone programs also.
Is the website for the RCIP launched, like the specific towns in the BC? I don't think it's launched yet, right?
No, not yet. It's a brand new program, so the communities are still working on it. So they will come up with their website in the coming days. So I was mentioning in my slides that the federal requirements, but again, every community has their own list of. So we never know what's the community requirement. So when the RNIP, the Rural Northern Program, was there, in addition to the federal requirement, every community has their own set of requirements, point criteria, prior to occupations, etc. Right? So even for RCAP, there could be some community requirements that we are not aware at this point. So stay tuned for those website updates in the meantime.
Hi, I have a job offer from Northern Health as a registered nurse. I will be starting from April. Do I need to get any offer letter, any letters from the Northern Health Authority despite that?
Like any other stream in BCPNB, your employer should be able to provide you the mandated documents. So we have a list of documents as per the PNB requirement. So they should be able to get that to you. So many authorities are familiar with that documentation involved. But if you need any help with the list of documents, please reach me in this phone number or email address. I can guide you with that.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
So it should be actually it should be done by the employer, right? Not from my side.
So there are two. So the applicant, which is you should give some documents from your end, and also the employer should be providing you some documents from their end too, right? Okay. So yeah, so documents from their side, you don't have to do anything, but they should be able to provide you in a timely manner.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. So we have some questions coming from the chat box also, which I can read here. So question from Parvati, she is currently, hi, my current job is not coming under the job list specified by IRCC for applying SOWP. I'm graduating in so and so month. My husband is working as a high school teacher. She's a community support worker. You see a program. Yeah, so Parvati, we need to see if this particular occupation comes under the demand list. I believe ECEA comes under the shortage list. I need to see that. So you can reach me, if you can reach me at my phone number later this week, I can check that for you and I'll get back to you with the reply on this. Next question is Akhil. Akhil is asking, what's the requirement for ECA job holders for PNB program or any other streams, early childhood? ECA. So Akhil, are you on ECE or ECEA? So it depends, right? So ECA, I'm not sure.
ECA, Early Childhood Assistant.
Yeah, ECEA, right? Educator assistant. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so we have a it's coming under the program priority for ECE and ECEA. So you could get some priority when it comes to the point factor. So are you a bachelor's graduate or a master's from BC or a
Actually, I'm
diploma?
asking on behalf of my wife.
Yeah,
She's
right.
masters. She's doing masters now.
She's doing masters. Yeah. So once she completes her masters, then we could potentially move through the master's stream, which is a newly stream from this year.
Okay.
And as I said from my slides, the job offer has to be permanent full time, and the employer should be supportive. So she's currently studying now. So in this meantime, she can get some experience in that field while working part time for the employer.
Okay.
And once she graduates, make sure talk to your employer, ask them if they can support you for the application, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So once she graduates, you can, if you have any assistance, you can always reach out to me.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
So hi again. So this time I have the question regarding with one of the IRC's update. It has shown that last year they announced a master stream for BCNP for that they will actually launch it on January 2025, but there is no updates yet from their side and it is almost the end of February. So whether it will affect those who passed out on 2022 January and February if they launched it on March.
So your question is, if you graduate in Feb of 2022, you can participate in the program, right? That's your
That's
question.
correct. Yes.
Yeah. So at this point, we are waiting for them, right, to launch those streams. So once they launch the stream, we can get to know the full details and the eligibility criteria. I believe there should be some cutoff they will be putting on within how many years you should be graduating. I could think of an example from last year that you should graduate within last 3 years before applying for PNB, right? So there should be something similar of that sort, but we never know until they officially launch and publish those, criteria. So we believe they could launch. They were saying that they will launch in January, but they didn't. So there are some back-end work going on in PNP, and they should be launching soon. That's what we think. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, sir. I want to check. I am a postgraduate work permit holder.
Yeah.
Okay, so currently I am working a part-time in a government company in ICBC. So what are the chances? Like, when do you think this international master's program will be open in BCPNP? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I know only as you know. I was answering the previous question, right? So they were saying that they'll be opening in January, which they didn't. Now we are almost end of Feb, so hopefully soon, but we don't know. We don't have an exact date in hand at this time.
Okay, but this job won't be eligible under, like, I will eventually get into full time, but even though like I get a full time, I don't think it will be valid as a tier 4 or 5 job, a customer service job, right?
So we need to see your knock code. Do you know your knock code? Have you already find out your knock tier level?
I think it is 3 for, like, customer service representative will come under tier 3.
Yeah, so tier 3 is a skilled position, it's a skilled employment. I have not seen your job duty, so I cannot confirm that. But if you're saying if you are in tier 3, you should come under skilled category. So it depends, right? If you are a master's or bachelor's, right? There are lots of criteria
Yeah,
involved,
I
you
did
know.
masters. Yeah, so okay, so it will count for BCPNP, right? I was not sure.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I haven't seen your knock or the job duties. So if you think you are in tier 3 and if you're a master's graduate, then master's stream could be an option for you. Yeah.
Okay, okay. We
Okay.
have to wait for them to open, right?
That's right. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, there is some questions in the chat box. So John is asking if you have a job offer in tier 0 or tier 1 in any sector, will it help for the express entry? Hi, John. So if you have a job offer in tier 0, tier 1, 2, or 3, so those tiers will come under express entry. Again, in express entry, we have different pathways like federal skilled worker class, CEC, FSTC, etc. So, you know, but generally saying tier 0 to tier 3 will qualify you under express entry. Yeah.
Hi.
Hello, yes, is it John?
Hi. Said. It's Said. So I was
Okay.
asking, like, I heard like one of my friend applied for PR to two to three different pathways, like express entry, TR to PR, and something else. But he got through a different. He got PR through another stream, so the other two application got automatically cancelled. Or how, does that happen? Like you can apply through two to three other programs for the PR. Like he applied for express entry, then TR to PR also, and another, I don't know, I think two, and he got it in one, so the other one got cancelled or something.
Yeah, so what you can do, you can reach out to immigration directly, either through a web form or through the toll-free number, and you can speak to them and say that, you know, did he already got the PR, right? So, so if you get the PR, I think they will not process the other two applications since they can see that they already finalized the application, right? That he got the PR. But if you're wondering about the application fees refund or processing fee refund, you can reach out to IRCC and discuss more about that. Is that clear or?
Yes. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, best to reach to immigration directly regarding that. Yeah, thank you. So we got a question from Sham. Sham is asking if the agencies supplying manpower to the companies can help to get a tier 0 or tier 1, or do they can support for PR? So I'm not sure, Sham, what do you mean by agencies? If you're mentioning about a job placement company, I'm not sure because I cannot speak for them on how they operate or what kind of jobs that they will be providing you or what kind of support they will be giving you. So you have to speak to those agencies directly to see what kind of support or help which they can provide to you. Yeah, thank you. Question from others. Others is asking, does LMA work permit in tier 2 play any role in BCPNP? So BCPNB, there are no extra points for LMIA. So even if you have an LMIA permit or if you have an open work permit, you won't get any extra points in BCPNP. So it doesn't matter. Even in express entry, the job offer points are going to be taken out soon. Yeah, so that's an update also. And Nivea is asking any chances for less CRS scores for trade position less than 450. Hi Nivea, so we cannot predict anything about express entry because the points are always fluctuating. But trades is one of the program priority areas, similar to healthcare. So even there has been instances where the trades were less than, I think there was a draw for 430 or 435 last year. So that could happen, yeah, because trades is always a shortage area, but we can never predict things, but there are good chances.
Hi, I am Harish here.
Hello, Harish.
Yeah. What I would like to ask is, what is the turnaround time now for spousal open work permit extension? So I have the open work spousal open work permit. I have given in September, and it's like 5 months till now. Instead of getting an approval or something, I got an email from them that I am granted what you call implied status for another 6 months.
Right.
So these days, what is the turnaround time? Because it's already 5 months,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, they have.
Right. Now, I mean, we are seeing around 4 to 5 months roughly. Again, depends on the application, right, and the processing capacity, visa office, etc., right, where your application is currently getting processed, but around 4 to 5 months. But what you can
Yeah,
do,
but
what you
yeah,
can do
right,
is that if your application has exceeded the processing timelines, you can
right.
send a web form saying that this is the published timeline and your application has gone above that time frame. So so you can request them kindly to expedite the process. If you are worried about traveling outside Canada, right, with a valid permit. But if you are concerned about continue working, you can continue working based on the authority which
Yeah,
they have given you. Yeah.
yeah, that I can. But have you come across any chances where people are getting these email that it's been further extended for another 6 months?
Yeah. Yes.
Are
Yes.
they
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah. You are getting those emails from them. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes.
So that means
Yes.
it's there. It must be their processing delay, right?
Yeah. I mean, if they feel that they need more time in processing, right, they are extending your authority to work while the application gets processed.
Yeah. So I got another 6 months, which makes it like close to 1 year. But
Right.
what? Yeah, but you know, it's like we have to renew all the other health and other things and
Exactly.
driver's license.
Exactly. Especially if you are
Yeah, so
planning to travel outside, you would need a valid permit in hand, right, to come back. Yeah. So that's more
yeah.
important.
So
Yeah.
after getting this email, also I can raise a web form, or should I like wait for a few more?
No, you can still raise a web form. If you have any additional circumstances in order to get the permit, you can always send a web form requesting them.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, they are taking much time, right? Because I was worried because it's 5 months until now, nothing has come up.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why they have sent you the additional, document to continue working based on the application. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I have a question. So
Yes.
I will be graduating by this April, and my study permit will valid until next year March, and my spouse also, her work permit also will valid until next year March. So after this April, I will eventually apply for the PGWP.
Right.
And at the same time, do I need to apply for her for the extension, or do I need to wait to get a tier 0, tier 1 job for her extension, or do I have time till next year March, before her work permit ends? Do I have
Right.
time to get a job, tier 0 job?
Yeah. Yeah. So in your case, she can continue working until the expiry date on her permit, which is March of next year, right?
Yeah.
She can. So you don't have to. There's no necessity for you to apply for extension at this point.
Okay.
But after March, if she wants to continue working, you would need to meet the new eligibility criteria, which is either you should need a full-time job in tier 0 or tier 1 for those list occupations under tier 2 or tier 3.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
So, hi, Krishna again.
Hello.
Yeah, my question is that it had heard that we are going to cancel or we are going to see the elimination of LMIA points starting spring, and there will be a downfall on CRS score. I would like to know from your personal experience whether how it's going to impact and what's gonna be the probable CRS after that, or is it going to happen spring or maybe later spring?
To my understanding, they have not implemented that yet. But once it's implemented, right, if you are claimed additional points in CRS, the system will cut those points from your total CRS score. So that means eventually you cannot claim any points for your LMI based job offer. So that's one area of concern for many applicants. Second, in terms of CRS score, it could go down because IRCC is giving more importance now to temporary foreign workers and students who are already inside Canada. So there could be some dip in points, but I'm not expecting something that huge of a dip. But you could see some dip in the CRS. Yeah, but I don't know how much it will be.
Oh yeah, well answered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi again. Hello.
Hi.
So I was thinking like the Canadian government has reduced the permit for the study permit, right? Like the intake of international students. So I was
Right.
thinking like in the future, like in couple of years or a year or so, if they can reduce the CRS score, because there was a lot of incoming. Maybe that's the reason why they increased at the first place. So I was thinking if they could reduce it, like.
They could, or even at least some sectors where there is a high shortage of labor, let's say trades or healthcare, right? They could, based on the occupation or the skill level, or even based on the community. Like, for example, the rural communities where they need more people, for more new immigrants, to relocate to those communities. So there are various parameters involved. Yeah, so there could be some dip in the points, but yeah, at this point we don't know how much it is going to be. Yeah. Yeah, I hope that answers. Yeah, yeah. So no one can predict the express-entry system, right? It's very much fluctuating. Yeah. So we got a question from Rajesh. He's asking for BCP and master's stream. Any full-time job is sufficient, or is it mandatory we have a job in our field of study? Yeah. So for the master's stream, you should have full-time permanent job offer, as I said. It shouldn't be necessary in your field of study, but you should be able to perform the job duties. As I said, an example, like if you work as a nurse, you would have a education and license to practice as a nurse in Canada, right? So if you work in a regulated occupation, you should have the license to work in that occupation. But if you work in an office manager job role, ideally, it's not a license portion. So ideally, if you have a master's, then yeah, you could able to apply for that stream. Yeah. And again, CLB 8 is what they are proposing for the language requirement for that stream. Yeah. I hope that answers. Question from John is asking, the student is applying for the work permit. Yeah. So John, it depends on when is the spousal permit expiring, right? I would recommend, if you don't have enough time on the permit, the spouse can go on a visitor permit until the main applicant finds a job following or meeting the new requirements, tier 0 or tier 1, or occupations in tier 2, tier 3. Then later, once the student has that job, then you can later switch from visitor back to work permit. It all depends on the situation, right? We need to look into that. So you can reach me off the forum and we can talk more about that. Okay. Any other questions from anyone which I can help? Hi, Biju. Any more questions on the chat box?
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, no questions on the chat box. Yeah, you can ask. Yeah, Said, you can ask.
So I was saying like the SIW, like the Saskatchewan Immigration Pilot Program. So is it beneficial moving to Saskatchewan and working as a manager or a skilled worker?
Yeah. So it's not a pilot program. It's similar to BCPNP. We have the SINP, which is the Saskatchewan Immigration Nominee Program. So under SANP, we got different categories and streams, right? Same like BCPNP. So we need to look into your situation side, right? Which stream you can qualify for based on your background. And again, you would move to Saskatchewan and get a Saskatchewan-based employer to apply under the SANP program. So you can reach me off the forum. We can look into your background and see if BCPNB works for you or SANP would be better for you. So reach me and we can talk more about that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, one question I've shared.
Okay. So the question is, currently Jibu is a post-bac, or Jibu's spouse could be a post-bac student, and the kids are here as well. Yeah, so Jibu, so the kids can get their extension. They can extend their visitor status or study permit, irrespective of the applicant's job, the student's job. But if the spouse wants to extend the spousal permit, then the student need to get tier 0, tier 1, or tier 2 or tier 3 select occupations. Yeah, for the kids, that's fine. Yeah, the new requirements basically it's a work permit. So,
Hi, sir.
hello, hi.
Yeah, I had posted a question earlier from
Okay.
Rajesh's account. Yeah, sorry, I wanted more clarity on the same question.
Okay, sure. Yeah, please.
As I mentioned, I'm working as an admin. So, do I continue with the same job, or should we change jobs to our own field or some particular tier in order to be eligible for the BCPNP master's stream?
It's I believe it's going to be again a point-based stream. You know, we are still awaiting on the master stream, but it's a point-based stream, right? So we need to see how much points you're currently having, right, on the system, right?
Yeah.
And again, we need to monitor. They haven't started the draw set for the PN master stream, so we have to monitor the first couple of draws to see how the trend goes, right?
Okay.
And if you have enough points, then there's no need for you to change the employment. But if you are falling really short on points, then you can look into another streams, or even you can look into the the RCAP stream, which is new rural stream. But yeah, again, we need to monitor how the things go to see where you stand and where you can improve the points.
Okay. So because December 2025 until December 2025, our family has the visa. Yeah. So for the purpose of SOWP, we have to move into some tiers, the list which came recently.
Right.
Yes. So if the only hope is for us is BCPNP masters. So that's why this confusion comes. Should we change the job for the purpose of SOWP, or we continue the job so that we'll be eligible for BCPNP?
So both are two different things, right? For the BC, for the BCPNB master stream, there is no set of occupations as such, right?
Yeah.
But for your spousal permit extension, IRCC has a certain list of occupations in tier 2, or 3, or tier 4 or tier 1. Any occupation is fine, right? So both are two different things.
Yes.
So when it comes to BCPNB, as I said, we need to monitor the first couple of draws to see what trend in points going forward, right?
So only after they launch the stream and then a couple of draws work out, we will come to know like how the pattern is.
How the pattern and what's your probability in getting an invitation to apply. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, you have a question I have shared.
Okay, let's see. So Serena is asking, any chance to change from closed permit to another job? So if you're currently on a closed permit, which is an LMA-based job offer work permit, then there could be a couple of options for you. The first one, if there is another employer who is able to offer you another job offer based LMA, then you can move to that closed permit to that employer. Or second, if you there's a provision for foreign workers. That means if you are facing any abuse from your current employer, it can be like if you are not getting paid on time, or if you are not getting or if they are not meeting the conditions on the job offer, or you are not getting paid for overtime, or if you're having any physical or mental assault from the employer. There are so many, I'm not saying all of them. Then you could be able to apply for a vulnerable open work permit. So you have to prove, that your statements are true. So vulnerable permit is one option. So that's an open work permit. That means you are free from the current employer and you get into an open work permit. Usually they give for 1 year or 12 months. But if your employer is all good, there are no complaints for you against the current employer, then the option for you would be to find another LMA-based job offer from another employer.
Okay. So how can I apply for PR? Now I am a registered nurse.
Yeah, so we can look into the BCPNP healthcare stream for you. You don't have to disclose the personal information. This is a public forum. So if you're not comfortable, then you can reach me off the forum and we can look into your profile in detail and see what's the best option for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And Sam, you can ask.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
This is Sham.
Hi, Sham.
I just have a question. So the question goes like this. So if we are in the manager role or in a supervisor role, is that going to make any difference in the CRS point?
Especially to CRS, there are no particular points based on this your tier level. Not even in BCPNB also, right? In BCPNB, there are points for the wage, per hour wage, and the location where you work, but no particular points based on the tier level. Yeah.
Okay. In federal, I'm asking. The problem is my employer has hired me as a contract employee. So they are not ready to give me a full-time position, but they are giving me a long-time contract. Is that going to help me in any way to apply PR in future?
Full-time, but it's a full-time role, right? You work
Yes. They are ready to offer me more than 30 hours in a week, but they are not ready to give me a full-time position. They say you have to be in contract. It's like an individual contractor.
Right. So do you work remotely or you go to the physical office to work?
I go to the physical office.
Yeah. So contractual position is fine for the CEC, the Canadian Experience class.
Right.
Yeah. So if you work full time, which is more than 30 hours per week, if it's a full-time job offer, then CEC could be an option for you. Yeah.
So CEC is only the way. Now, here, as I asked you, so if it's a manager position or a supervisor position, that's not going to make any difference, right?
Tier, no, there are no points
Based on
based
tier.
on I can dive into that in depth. You can reach me off the forum.
Yeah, I will do that. I need to discuss with you. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
You have a question I have shared.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ramshad is asking to get the work permit after studying, and does the student have any conditions that they have to meet? The student is currently doing a master's program, have 3 years stay back after studies. Generally saying, when you apply for your work permit after completion of studies, right, the officer will look how much compliant or how much compliance you were for the study permit, right? Were you progressing good enough during your entire time? Or let's say a student came for a 2-year program, but he completed the program in 5 years, 6 years, right? That means there could be a lag in the studies, so there could be a low GPA or so many failures in the academic program, right? So there are many factors comes into play when you apply for your work permit. But if, let's assume you are a good standing student, you complete your program in 2 years, you have good GPA, right? You didn't work overtime, you work always under the limited hours part-time. Then ideally you should be getting the full length of 3 years, up to 3 years, I would say. Yeah, so it all depends on your academic standing and how good you are as a student throughout your study program. I hope that answers, Ramshad. Okay, so I think we have another 7 minutes or roughly 8 minutes. So I'll be happy to take any other questions if you have.
Yeah, I have one question.
Okay, yeah, please. Yeah, please ask. Yeah, okay, from Sham, right? Okay. It's asking, do we need a new study permit if you are taking a short-term course from another DLI if our current study permit is valid until next year? So it depends, right? So there could be some conditions on the permit, like which college you have to attend, or any particular program that you can only take. For example, we are seeing there should be some restrictions saying only taking business program or only taking arts program. If there are any conditions on the permit, you cannot violate those conditions. You can request immigration to give you a amended permit, amended study permit, saying mentioning no conditions on the permit. Yeah, so you please look into the permit, see if there are any restrictions on the permit for you to take those courses. Yeah, I hope that answers, Sham. Yeah, so if you have no restrictions, and again, if this course is required as part of a study program, right? For example, like the course which this particular course is not in your program, in your college, but you would need this course to complete your main academic program, then I think you should be fine taking that course. You can check with other college also based on your situation, whether you are able to take that course or not. But generally, if this course is important to complete your main academic program, then I think it should be fine. Yeah. So Delia Santosh is asking, with reduced allocations in BCPNP, how it is going to impact the draws and invitation. We don't have any official information on that, Delia, but what we think is that with the reduced allocation, it's going to be more competitive in terms of the cutoff points or how many candidates they can invite every year, right, to give the PNP nomination. So I think, as you know, the less sports, then more competition, and maybe fewer draws, because the allocations are less this year. And again, this year they haven't started the draw set. So I was answering my previous question. We need to see a couple of draws in the beginning to know the trend, how it's going forward, to get a clear answer on this. But again, if you are in a priority area, let's say an ECE or ECEA or healthcare, then I don't think you don't have that much worrying circumstances, because you are in a priority stream. So there could be an opportunity for you down the line. RCIP, so we don't have any news if they are going to make it permanent, because they will look into see how the program performs and how much demand is there from those communities. But even the Atlantic AIP, the Atlantic Immigration Program, when it started, it was a pilot program. But seeing the demand and how the program went good, they made it permanent now, AIP. So they could make it permanent if it's a high demanding program, but we never know. Yeah. So Dalia, you can reach me off the forum to look into your profile and see where you can fit best, which stream that could work for you. Yeah. And regarding your question about LMIA, you can ask your school district or your school if they are able to provide LMIA. Yeah, so the employer has to take that call whether they have to support you with LMIA or not. So Biju, you can take over if you think there are no more questions incoming.
Yeah.
I have shared my details here.
Yeah.
So they can always reach me off the forum to connect more.
Yeah, sure. So on behalf of Malayalee Association, I would like to take a few minutes to thank Mr. KRISHNANAND for sharing an informative session for all of us and sharing us the pathways from TR to PR. Hope all the attendees have found this webinar very helpful. Thank you all for your presence. Thank you and have a good night to all. If you need any support regarding this case, I will share the numbers on group so you can take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Biju. Thank you so much, Max BC, for arranging the session. And I wish you all the best in your all the future steps going forward. Thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us today evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.